What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology retold action in the top of the map, playing as the Blue Loki. He is none other than Keen's Tunison. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Shenong, throwing down 2 farms and clicking his god power on them. His name is Husk Soup. Now, I'm already upset, and maybe you guys know why. Maybe you guys know why I'm already upset. First and foremost, I disagree with early farms. However, that's not why I'm upset. I'm upset because if you're gonna do early farms, I want you to put the farms where? Right here. On this side of the mine and on this side of the mine. Or on this side of the mine and on this side of the mine. Or on this side of the mine and this side of the mine. With the silo on the corner. It's not, I don't think it's like that much more inefficient to put it on the corner than on like the long side. And what ends up happening is you're going to be able to ensure that this is unattackable. The second place to put the farms on the silo is your next 2 farms are going to be on your wood line. And all of a sudden, you're not going to get raided. You have a defensive way to play as Shenong against any sort of raids that might come your way from a Norseman, a Viking, and all of that other stuff. Which side of the horizontal and the vertical. The long and the short side. One on the long side, one on the short side. Doesn't matter which one. Whichever one you feel like. But it's good. You're the one with the arts. You don't need defensive measures. That's true too, but why not be safe? Okay, let's move along in this game. Let's check out the relics. We've got ourselves the adamantine shingle. It's going to be boosting up the house hit points. Always nice. Up onto this next place, we've got ourselves the dwarven horseshoe, speeding up the cavalry move speed. Also very, very nice. We've got Wu Hao Bow of Huang Di here. This one is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting for Soup to grab. It's also quite good for Tunison to grab, but not as good as for Soup to grab here, because he's going to be able to go fire archers. And with this, he's then going to be able to snare Herser that are running at him, or Huskal that are running at him. And he's going to be able to continue to kite, and it's going to be really, really tough for those fire archers to die to any infantry. And finally, we've got ourselves the Staff of Dionysus here, which is going to give some regen to the villagers. Always nice there to kind of stay alive, keep yourself going, and all the other good stuff. Now, the reason I bring you this game is because it was suggested to me. That's the reason. However, the reason I said yes is because it is a Loki versus Shenong matchup. This matchup is incredibly challenging for Loki. Incredibly challenging for Norse. Why? Well, Shenong is going to be one of the gods which gets a crazy amount of myth units going. He gets free ones, plus he gets all the extra favor in for what I would say is basically free as well. So he's going to just be able to spam them out. And while Loki does have bonus damage, and he does have slightly faster Herso with Forceti, as we are seeing the walls coming up over here. Nice little play. You've got to be careful not to get stuck on this one. I think he can escape, but... No, he can't. He is stuck in here. You're not stuck in here with me. I'm stuck in... No, that's wrong. Anyways, my point is very, very challenging to kill these off, first and foremost, with Norse. Loki does have a bit of a boost, but... Nice little escape there through the arrow fire from Soup. But the problem is, if you're going to be building Herser, you're going to be running into Fire Archer. And we already see a machine workshop coming up. That's the main problem. And then that also forces you to make raiding cavalry, right? So you're basically going to be going for Herser, raiding cavalry, and troll. That's your main comp, in my opinion, here for Loki. It's the only real way through here. If you can get a good fight, that's great. But the problem is then you're going to get hit with lightning weapons. So that's the hard part. There's so many landmines to get through. Now, Tunis is playing a great opener here. These Yazi look like they're not going to quite be able to make it in and get any damage without really risking their lives. One thing he can do is swing around up to the top side here, stay out of line of sight, jump over this wall here, and then just sit and wait for 20 seconds, and then dive in, snipe a villager, run around this area for another 20 seconds, dive out, and he can do that on repeat. Unless Tunison here uses the spy ability over here, which it looks like he's used on a villager, which I do think is a slight mistake. Using spy on the Yazi is a really, really effective way of keeping yourself going here. You could also, if you're playing against Noir or Fushi and they're going for chillin', use it on that as well. As the fire archers now coming out, and Tunison gets a really, really nice win here on those pioneers. He overstayed his welcome a little bit too much there. There is this timing. This timing's existed since the start of China, where if you go for an early pioneer rush, not the start, once the pioneers got lowered on speed, if you go for a pioneer rush, you have to get out of there basically by about, I think the timing is about by 5 minutes. You've got to just leave with those pioneers, otherwise the Hersa can chase them down. But Yazi now coming through, almost sniping off a raiding cavalry here, chasing in. The Hersa sits back, and he has to retreat back, and the Hersa coming in. And a nice little combo here, it looks like Tunison's going for, is you can snare with raiding cavalry, and you can kill with Hersa. That's the general idea there. But as Soup gets away, he is going to be able to use the dash ability, and now he's out of there. So no Yazi dead, no harm done, and he is gone. So all of that work there from Tunison. He does get the 2 kills on the pioneers, which is huge. But from here, Soup effectively just is going to spam out units. And the question is going to be, what sort of game plan from here does Tunison go for? Can he run and get some raids with the Hersa? Maybe. Hersa raids are a little bit better. Well, they're not a little bit better. They're a lot better than, as he snipes one raiding cavalry there. He probably should retreat after that one, though, as the Hersa are going to be very, very angry. You can raid with the Hersa because the Yazi aren't going to be able to do a whole lot there. But it's looking like Soup getting caught out of position here. He might actually have to turn around, dropping the lightning weapons here, as well as one Hersa going down, trying to stun up the troll here as well, as all the Hersa on the other side here going down. This is a really, really good trade for Soup, but Tunison getting out that lightning weapons at this point is huge, as it probably means now the best move in here from Soup is actually to not build any more Yazi. Not to get this technology that's pre-queued here, but actually save up for another lightning weapons. That's like, unironically, that's the best move right now for Soup. But he's coming in. He's going to get a little bit more damage onto these villagers, pushing off of the berries here. Hurts a ton. There's a pretty, I mean, it looks like it's pretty equal for the time being in terms of resources. Lots and lots of resources in the bank right now for Soup. He's got to spend those on those upgrades and everything else. He's going to be getting himself the medium infantry tech here, as the raiding cavalry trying to get out and get some raids in. And we'll see if this is all going to work out for him. Like, you can just chase these down. Really can't get any decent raids from this. Also going to be seeing the Master of Weaponry coming through. I mean, he can get the techs as well, but then he just has to wait a little longer on that lightning weapons. As long as you have that in, it's good. Another raiding cavalry getting taken down here. Absolutely huge for Soup. He's coming in with the rest of his army as well to get a little bit of a catch here, as it looks like all of these raiding cavalry going to basically go down as the Yazi to come back in again. I mean, at this point, he can kind of just ignore them, get back into the main base here, pick off some extra villages with those Yazi. As long as you micro this, you grab 2 Yazi onto 2 separate villages and then auto attack afterwards, you can basically kill off 2 villages at once. Good pullback there from Tunison. Good reaction with the Hersa there, as the villagers have to pull off this one. He sees a cheeky little berserk there and says, okay, I don't need to kill villagers. I don't mind. I'm just going to kill off your berserk. That's totally fine as well. As units getting damaged in here, there is that healing spring. So if they don't go down, they're going to go back up to full HP. No problems here. Still no watchtowers coming. There's the watchtowers now coming through as I say that. But watchtowers doesn't make you really safe against China either. Funnily enough, even after all of the building buffs, the reason why is against most other civs, as we will see these raiding cavalry coming through, most other civs You have to get into melee range to kill these off. And the town center does protect you as this villager out in the middle of nowhere. Going to get sniped down. Unfortunately, don't know what these two villagers were doing here, but they are very, very silly. As both villagers going to go down here. Nice little raid there. Could drop 2 farms onto this position and be completely safe from these raids as well. Can get himself watchtowers too, no problems. The Yazi not going to get pulled back just yet. Just going to turn around and shank. Tunison very good with these little raids, pulling in and out. So not wanting to, he pulls 2 medium guys back. 1 Yazi in, says, all right, 90 night to these guys, and he's out. But this does mean he's not going for that second, lightning weapons, right? Which is a problem. This does give Tunison an angle here. Even after all the pain that he's suffered, the fact of the matter is going into all of these myth units, while they're really, really good, if he gets caught out and loses them to a bunch of Hersa, which he's not going to have lightning weapons to deal with, they're not going to be that useful. So we'll see if Tunison's going to be able to find that catch or not as the Yazi just continues to chase. He will get his special. He will dive in, and these raiding cavalry will go down quickly. Now the Hersa going out onto the map. We are going to be seeing a bit of damage here, and this is what the problem is. This is really, really good from Tunison here. He's pushing in. He sees the villagers on this one through the fog of war, and he goes, great, let me get some kills here. Dow Swordsman starting to come through. The villagers need to bail. Big amounts of damage coming through. Soup is always greedy with these villagers out in the middle of the hunt. He had all of this food in his main base. He's got the farms as well he could put down. There's no real need for him to be there. But he takes it anyways. These villagers here as well. Going to bail into a watchtower up onto the top side. The Yazi could get onto the villagers over here as well. With the Hersa getting out of position like this, now the main base is his for the taking if he wants to, as he now dives through with these guys, and he will be able to just jump straight in onto a whole bunch of villagers, or just sit AFK here for a little bit. As he does snipe down one unit. Yeah, the Baihu's going to go down as well, though, as Soup not paying attention. He does come in with the Yazi onto the villager line here. Army sitting up onto the top here, not reacting to this. A couple of Dark Swordsmen, not going to be enough to deal with these raids from Tunison. Soup is up through Rushol here as the Yazi in the main base getting chased away. This one does peel off. The Hersa are now through, so he has to run away from them. But all in all here, villager differential equal, damage done, forced off of the hunt, and after all is said and done, the early game seems to be fairly equal here, even though the upgrades in the military is slightly in Tunison's favor. See, he's got to be careful with those Yazi. You don't want to dive in onto a bunch of Hersa here. The problem here right now for Soup is he really needs some more fire archers in to deal with all of these Hersa, as he decides to not even go onto this one. Meanwhile, onto the front here, sniping down the raiding cavalry over here. Yazi up onto the top. If he can just sneak in to take down the villagers there, that would be kind of disgusting. Snipe those, run up to this top corner, swing around here, dive out this way. Could be an idea as well. Now, 50 favor coming through. It's going to be time for another lightning weapons as well. And Soup is saving up now. So he kind of knows what's coming for him. Lightning weapons versus flaming weapons does favor the... does favor the... just a little bit of miss micro here from Soup. Gets caught out, not paying attention exactly. He's going to lose... No, he doesn't lose when he manages to escape there. Just barely. As the fire archer's coming up to say 90-night here. The game is currently in the balance. The problem is gold is gone. And Tunison needs to figure out how he's going to get to a gold mine. Because this army is really strong. He's going to have to do some sort of a lightning weapons fight. Soup just spent favor on something. I don't know. Did he buy a Baihu? I feel like he bought a Baihu. I feel like that's a gigantic mistake from Soup. Nonetheless, the Hersa back in onto the wood line. Soup's defenses here have not been the best for his villagers. He's been getting punished by these Hersa raids kind of non-stop here. Villagers up to the top wood line here. These villagers over here taking some damage. The watchtower is getting, a watchtower in town center is getting a good amount of damage done here. As this is the, realistically, this is the only good way you can keep yourself in this. And this distraction here is actually kind of important. Is there a market down in this main base? There is a market, so he can sell some food, sell some wood, come out, put the hill fort down on this spot, and then try and call it a day, or put the hill fort down on this spot, try and sneak out there. Soup's line of sight here. He doesn't see everything. He does see the army, but he doesn't see everything. The Yazi's going into... You hate to see it. The Yazis of their own self-accord. They just say, oh, unit, let me charge. You do see a bow lay up onto this side. Another machine workshop coming down. This does protect the gold villages, but doesn't give Soup much else. So it's a little bit of a waste of resources, so to speak, as now the villagers moving out here. And Soup waiting, watching, thinking. More fire archers is correct here as the Hersir dive through. But he's got to be so careful underneath this ballet. It's going to be so much damage. He doesn't have crenellations in, though, it looks like. Yeah, no crenellations, so the arrows will be missing. Meanwhile, up onto the top, he's on the gold mine, getting himself that gold. And as soon as he gets this hill fort down, the game will grind to a very, very slow stage here. I'm not sure he can quite break through a hill fort on the gold mine. Meanwhile, Yazi into the main base, picking off villagers. Hersir into the main base, picking off villagers. Everyone's hurting here in this game. As the villagers up to the top position. No silo here, though. Oh, dear. And now the hill fort coming in. And this is a big catch from Soup. Will he be here in time? This is 8 seconds from completion. The buyer who can come in and pull this one off. He drops the Fey Beasts down. There is lightning weapons. And lightning weapons gets dropped, but he's attacking the hill fort. It does give a little boost. As the fire archers charging in. Baihu after onto this position. The Yazi to come through as well. Stunning up those Hersir is absolutely gigantic. And now the fire archers are actually targeting down a spawned ironry instead of the Hersir. Yazi's up to the top, distracting really well. Meanwhile, we've also got the White Horse Cavalry on this side. However, the Hersir going after the villagers here. A battle boar spawn. Soup doesn't garrison there. And it's looking like the population for Tunisia is holding strong. Lightning weapons over here. And somehow, some way, Tunisia manages to survive here by the skin on his chinny chin chin, as they say. That's a technical term there for those of you who didn't understand. No gold for Soup. Ballet going down. No boiling oil in here. But units coming over to try and defend. 29 villages. 30 villages to 39. So a significant advantage now. As Tunisia is not going to be scared of a 300 HP ballet. He's charging through. The battle boar doing significant damage as well to this position as the villagers to come up. And after all is said and done, I think Tunisia... Well, I don't know if Tunisia is going to actually be able to finish here. It almost looked like he was able to finish, but it looks like Soup's able to live another day. Gets himself out of Baihu here, which will be able to deal with the battle boar. He stuns that one up. Has a big gnaw on the battle boar. Going to be able to take it down. Also a Hundun to come in as well. That one's going to be a big, fat, juicy. But at this point now, Tunisia has dealt with the second lightning weapons. He's dealt with the Yazi presence. He probably just needs to sit back and enjoy this 10 villager advantage, which is managed to assemble. This is 600 resources every minute that goes by. But is that exactly equal? I don't know. He's going to get himself out the medium Huskal, the Hersir. If we take a quick look at what everyone's seen here, Soup. Does he know? He does know. Oop, he actually taps out. I'm a little surprised he tapped out here. I don't think the game is necessarily lost. It's definitely difficult, though. But he says, I've had enough. I don't want to play this anymore. And that is the game. So, a pretty wild one. Some very, very key problems here from Soup that did develop. Namely, moving out to hunt when you're playing with Shenong doesn't make a huge amount of sense. The villagers actually farm faster on the Shenong farms than they do on the hunt, and you really don't need that many of them to support villager production. You really don't need that many halberdier either. You probably need like a grand total of 10 halberdier, and after that you can go into Dow swordsman. But more specifically, some farms on the wood line to prevent the raids with some watchtowers would have been really nice. And instead of, I think this is true when you're playing against Norse, I don't think you get that much from all of these buildings being spread out like this, especially the houses. I'd much rather see the temple sort of like with houses wedged in onto the wood line and actually just defending your base versus a Norse player. Especially Loki, I guess against Odin, you don't really care. Against Thor, you don't really care unless they go mass her. So maybe you do care against Thor, but against Freyr and Odin, you don't really care because the Yazi will shut down any raids, and you kind of want them to try and raid with raiding cavalry so you can just get free kills. But against the Hersa, yeah, you could probably need to put some buildings up and play a little bit more building placement strategically defensive rather than favor hungry, is my guess. But anyways, well played here from Tunison. If you guys enjoyed the game, please consider following the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.